stay here or just in the meeting? I guess I'll just sit over to let people in. Just be on multiple laptops.
Yeah, I can definitely get an idea more.
I get that.
I'll take pictures.
Training, we'll know which way we're gonna be looking. Oh, that way. Yeah.
It's gonna look this way.
Oh, we do this. Jesus, I think I asked you.
Where do you want to find
We're in the restaurant. There's a restaurant. I can hear the lights. One was married, one was well. And I'm trying not to. Thank you, welcome. This is the best turnout I've ever seen. Annual meeting. In fact, it's like 5 annual meetings.
Yeah, it's that Chinese food.
And I guess, I don't know if it's Chinatown or something else. But thank you everyone for showing up. I'm Mike Scher, Ben Goldberg, my other co-president, and we are gonna start the meeting. The first thing we do is sound the gong, which is, yeah.
Just so everyone know, there's drinks over here.
Yes.
Help yourself, we'll keep replenishing. And do you want to explain the gong, Larry, Paul, real quick? Or
Oh.
30-second gong?
Gone, Jeff Joel. We used to hold some of our earliest gatherings at our holistic center, and we start the meetings with the gong. And sadly, Jeff is no longer with us, but he left the gong with us. And we think of him and thank him, and it always moved me to hear that.
Hey.
Yeah.
Bring it to the new building.
I think this is one of those things that, you know, we always, in Judaism, we're always big about, you know, remembering our past and always moving forward into the future. And I think this is a good symbol of that for our community. Yeah. I had a request not to snag you.
Friday about a week ago. It is real loud.
The songs Larry mentioned is really a way of remembering our dedication to our founding members, some of whom are here. Larry, Lori, Rose,
Joan, you've been around a while.
Joan. So thank you all for sticking with us for all these years. So basically, this is what we're gonna do tonight. I'm gonna do a state of the congregation, which kind of recaps the last 12 months. Ben will do a building update. There will be a presentation for volunteer of the year. Mary and Brad will do that. We will have financial review by video from our treasurer, Rachel Stam, who couldn't be here. We have 2 new board members that the board would like to add, and we need your votes on them. We'll do that after that. And then you get to ask us questions, make comments,
Or storm off.
or run out. Yeah, but don't run out because, you know, and then we'll have celebrations, we'll adjourn, and hopefully the Chinese food will still be warm. So no questions, because you're not allowed to.
Do you tell us when we're allowed to ask questions?
We will.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have assignments that
No.
questions? Those are questions,
So-
yes.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and we don't have a typical Shabbat service tonight because we have a bar mitzvah tomorrow. And if we had a Shabbat service with the annual meeting, we'd be eating Chinese food at 9 o'clock. So didn't seem like a great idea. It's an honor and a privilege to stand up here before you and look back at what we had this last year and look forward to what's coming. I want to start by celebrating successes. And this past year has been a testament to the community's vision, to its strength, its resilience, its vibrancy. It's been a very difficult world for Jews around the world. I think we're all aware of that. So we bought a building. This is so monumental. This is so big, great, amazing. For the last 10 years, Mary, Judd, and myself have been scheming, looking, looking at real estate ads, looking at different properties, hoping and dreaming that this could become a reality. And we now have our own home, our own sacred space that we control, where we make the rules, we can do what we want, when we want. It's big enough for Bet Safer, for offices, Shabbat services, Simchat Torah, many other things. It's not big enough for high holidays, but that was not really part of the plan. All of you made this possible. And to thank everyone who helped in this, it would take me another 20 minutes and I'm not gonna do it, but you know who you are. Whether you dedicated, and whether you came to us with your expertise, whether you came to us with money, with time, all of it added up to our success with this. We raised an unbelievable amount of money, over $5 million in a matter of months. And that's mind-boggling. So, you know, our community's generosity, their vision, it's very humbling. So at present, your board of directors is in the process of selecting a contractor because the space is great, but we need to modify it. We need ADA bathrooms. There's a few things we need to do, and Ben will talk about that. And so we're gonna find someone that'll do that work. Or would you all like to do it? Probably not.
Demolition.
Yeah, the demo part, that's fun. We hope to start these renovations later this summer and hopefully Shabbat in your synagogue at the end of the year or early next year. Our spiritual and educational programming has continued to flourish with the broader public about surviving the Holocaust, the pearls of intergenerational trauma. This is our speaker, Erica Schwartz, who was absolutely amazing. And we brought her to many schools. She truly touched thousands of people here in Teton Valley and our valley. We have a consultant from the Secure Community Network, which is conducting assessments, helping us with our new property, and training with the GHJC. We've been giving back to our community by participating in cleanups such as the Mitzvah Day and Al Zuckerman. A special thank you for you for continuing to do this year after year. We continue to build interfaith bridges with St. John's and the Lutheran Church to broaden our understanding and their understanding of Judaism. Our calendar's been filled with so many great cultural and other types of events. Adina Sussman from Tel Aviv was here to Shabbat for a Shabbat dinner with her cookbooks. I didn't write this, we crossed over to the dark side over the first GH, some pickleball happy hour. I think look for 2 more pickleball events this summer. And we have to make him play with his other hand. Financially, last year we supported our community with whatever financial means we have available. As I said, we raised over $5 million to buy and renovate our new synagogue. And we did this without going into our endowment. And we had gifts that were small, we had gifts that were large. And that's what's really meaningful, is this isn't one person writing a check. This is almost everybody writing a check. And that's something to be very proud of. We continue to run a balanced budget, which you will hear about. And it's growing because we're growing, we're adding more programming, we're doing more things. And hopefully you're benefiting from that. I want to personally thank Lisa Goldstein. She's stepping off the board, and her energy, her insight, it was very appreciated. We hope maybe at some point she'll decide she wants to come back on. We'll see. We are going to be voting later on 2 new board members. Amir Burns, who's sitting right here, and Rick Gordon, who's on the East Coast. And you'll need to approve that when I'm done with these things. So coming year, youth programs. We're gonna start our Spirit of the Mountain Summer Camp. We're gonna restart it next summer when we're in our new building, which is near local parks, Snow King. It'll make it much more easy. Our new building, look forward to new programs like music and singing groups. Probably want to keep me out of that. Adult study and even cooking events. Upcoming summer events, Ryder Benjamin Bar Mitzvah tomorrow, 10 o'clock, St. John's. Barbecue Shabbat, July 18th at Owen Berkshire, always a blast. Ben Baker is getting bar mitzvah on the 26th of July. And the 15th anniversary of Swinging Shabbat, it's with Judd and his band. It'll be in my house, August 1st. I hope to see everyone there. And we will pay a special tribute to Richard Brown, passed away at Swinging Shabbat. The U.S. Israel Forum, August 5th, and I think 6th.
4th and 5th.
4th and 5th, sorry. And then we'll advertise the pickleball events well in advance.
They're always sold out.
Yeah, I know. And we're open to ideas, we're open to suggestions. This is an informal, this is a Havaree, a group of friends. And so if you have thoughts, if you have programming you want us to pursue, reach out to Mary, to Brad, to myself, to Ben, any board member, and we're happy to do that. So our community is flourishing. Together, we created a congregation and a community, not just a place of worship, a family, a home, strength, hopefully for all of us. And we're very fortunate to have a growing, diverse membership, lots of young and also a few old people. As we move forward, I have lots of confidence that this will continue. But none of this can happen without you staying engaged, without you showing up. So please do that. Be involved, participate, volunteer your time and talent, and together we can keep doing amazing things. So to conclude my remarks, I want to express my gratitude for Mary Grossman, Brad Adams, Josh and Judd, Carl Levinson, and the entire board, myself, Lori, who's here, Janet, who's not, Rachel, who's not, Paula.
Janet's on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Paul.
Lisa
Yeah.
Goldstein and Ben, of course. All of you make this happen. May the coming year be filled with blessings, growth, and joy for all of us. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom. Turn it over to Ben.
And thank you for your service.
I just thought you all deserved more.
Okay, I got the pleasure of giving you guys the building update, cause Wade has family visiting in town, and so they're doing a Shabbat dinner together. But I'll give you kind of an update, probably since we last met. So we closed on the building. We have the simple title to a structure in Jackson. It is ours. We've got the old tenant is still in the space. And we did just recently let them extend through mid-July while we continue our design development and get to a point where we can submit the permit and start doing the demolition work. That's Vertical Harvest. They've been great and very flexible, and they obviously agreed to terminate their lease early when we close. So that's great. We're gonna have access to it in mid-July, mid or late July, depending on how our design development goes. We've got Larry Thal here, who is serving as our architect of record. We've also got Rachel Rabbits. I don't think she's here. Rachel Rabbits is also playing a support role in the design phase. We've got all of our consultants signed up, our structural engineers, our mechanical engineers, our electrical engineers. So we're very happy with the design team, and we are ready to get going on design development to a point where we're gonna get ready to submit permit by the beginning of August. That permit process will take maybe 6 to 8 weeks. The goal right now is to break ground on new construction in October 1st. And roughly October 1st, we will probably be able to do demolition before then. We are gonna do exploratory demolition starting as soon as possible to find out what's behind some interesting partitions. Floor. Yeah, and that's, so this whole phase is really about, understanding how we can turn this property to suit our needs. And, as, Mike said, we're gonna be selecting a general contractor in the next week, and that, when they are on board, that's really gonna speed up the process. They'll help do that exploratory demolition. And they're gonna be the ones that are gonna get together those cost estimates. So we're starting broad with everything that we could possibly want in this building, everything from every security detail, fencing, to all the stuff that you expect on the interior remodel of opening up the sanctuary space, adding a kitchen, adding like a bait midrash hall, like meeting hall. And so once that team's on board, that pricing exercise, so in the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we're gonna have a very good idea of what we're looking at and what we can do within our budget. And from there, if it's over, from there, we will start doing the beat eating option, the value engineering option.
Will the demolition be selective, or are you going to totally?
We are gonna selectively demo in the near future to just see like, hey, can we use an existing floor material that's been covered up over the years? Can we pull all the covers off and refinish that floor? Or are we gonna go in and we're gonna put in all new floors? Same thing with certain chases. There are little chases and you're like, what's behind this chase? We're pretty confident it's not structural, but hey, are we gonna need to move some electrical and reroute it to new places? And so that selective demo will start immediately. The demolition to prepare for construction, we're gonna push that off into, that only takes about 2 weeks, so there's no reason to rush it and just to push money out, so.
But are the spaces that are in the building, spaces that are usable, or do they need to be as large for our purposes?
We are not changing floor area. We are removing the plan is to remove interior walls and restructure, but we are not making addition to the structure itself.
Joan, if you
So-
want, anyone wants to see it, just
Hmm.
let us know, so we can take you through it.
I found it, I know where it
Yes,
is,
let me know, we'll take you through
but
it.
I didn't walk in.
All right.
Yes.
I know that we were not, yes, but I don't forget the question.
Yeah,
How can we select a contractor if we don't have these guys?
so basically, well, there's two.
Repeat the question.
So she asked, how can we select a contractor if we don't have fully fleshed out plans? So one of what we discussed this and the idea was that we need a contractor to come in and start working on pre-construction work with Larry and his team. So that and not to get those people up. So what we did is instead of a request for proposals where you would have a full set of plans and everyone submits a full cost estimate and you can look at those budgets. We did a request for qualifications instead. And so we sent it out to a bunch of contractors here. Hey, show us your team, tell us your history, like give us your portfolio. Tell us the team that's gonna be working on this and their qualifications, and tell us how you would price in terms of the stuff that aren't subcontracted work, right? Subcontracted work for the most part in a town like this is all the general contractors are using the same subcontractor base, so those costs are gonna be pretty similar and the same. So what we looked at is what we call general conditions. So what's your overhead, right? And what's your profit? What's your GC fee? And so we have made sure that they submitted all that so that we could compare and say, where does everyone fall? Assuming all the numbers come in from the subs that are the same, it's gonna be more affordable. And who's qualified to do this work,
And
right?
available.
And available.
Exactly. And who can start, like,
And I just want to add that it's really important that we have a great team to do this. Because,
Larry, can you speak up a little?
Yes. well, we need a great team to put this together. The contractor is part of the team. So, part of the contractor selection is how are we all gonna work together? Because there's gonna be problems to solve. It's not a huge project, but it's an important one, and there'll be some tricky things because in renovations, there always are. So, we need a partner in this who's gonna problem solve with us. We couldn't go and put it out to bid because there's too many unknowns at this point. Because as Ben said, one of the big ones is when we have to do a bit of an archaeological dig to find out what's in the flooring. I can say we've already uncovered one really important thing is structural engineers already told us that our floors are strong enough for the larger assembly use. In other words, when you change from office to what's called an assembly occupancy, you need to raise your floor loads a little bit. A little bit could have been enough to throw us over the edge because the floor structure in there is actually part of it's from a previously existing old house. I didn't even realize till we dug into the building. But we got the good word from the structural engineer that we can change the assembly occupancy and keep our floor framing. That's actually huge. It saves us a bundle of money, for example. But that's just the example, a big one example of the kinds of issues we're gonna have to work through one at a time. And in our contractor selection, we need a good partner to help us move through those things. Yeah.
We've also, we engaged a security consultant who has given us a bunch of feedback on how we can harden the space and add AV equipment, security cameras and everything like that. So we got those recommendations that we're working through. We are hopeful that we will be able to offset the cost of that through a security grant that we are applying to through the Department of Homeland Security. So keep your fingers crossed about that. I mean, we've had success in the past. This is the most we're asking for in our since the history of us asking. We've gotten a bunch of money through this program. And that's when you see our armed guards and everything, it's pretty much what we've been using it for. Now we're looking at it for hardening the space. You can
Ben.
put,
Can I just thank Janet publicly?
yeah,
Janet Bellis, if anybody doesn't know Janet, she's in Pinedale. Hi, Janet. She has worked tirelessly on these grants for years, ever since they started, and she's really helped us, achieve a lot of grants.
Thank you, Janet.
One back to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We're not talking,
this isn't.
pennies here.
Yeah.
This is big money,
So,
and it's made us. It's paid for our security for many years now, and it's given the board and hopefully all of you more peace of mind.
Are there specific grants for security purposes for religious subgroups?
Yes.
Yes, Joan,
I
yeah,
think it's for all
the nonprofit
nonprofits.
security grant,
Yeah.
program by DHS.
Will we still need our armed guard once we?
That is still in the, so that assessment came back and it has stuff like, hey, you can put a ballistic film on windows. We want you to add a fenced area that is built to withstand a vehicle intentionally trying to cut into it. Having a man door or some sort of separation of like a fence or another door between your main door and that. Adding RFID cards for getting into certain things. So and security cameras and stuff like that. So there's a whole host, and in that also asks for continued personnel security as continuing. So we do plan to continue to hire security for our large events. I mean, as you can see, we don't have it on every single event, where we do pick and choose depending on the event we have. Like, for example, we don't always have it at Bait Safer and on Thursdays. But we do think that, you know, with hardening the space, we might not need them as often, but we're not gonna be able to make that decision until we know what we get from this grant and what we can do to harden the space, and we'll try to walk that line. But in an ideal world, we're doing all of the above in today's world. I mean, these events are happening. I know we feel like we're in a bubble here in Jackson and we feel safe, but this stuff can happen anywhere. I think everywhere it happens, everyone always says, I can't believe it happened here. And that's the lesson. It's like, it can happen. So you're trying to do everything.
What was the response to the RFQ? Did you get a lot of, has it been issued yet? And
It was issued,
and how many replies did you?
we received 3 replies. New West Building Company, Offer Heidi Construction Management, and Serenity Construction. And we believe that one was supposed to come in today. They were kind of lingering out there. They didn't meet the deadline, but we'll look at it if it comes in. If it did come in, I haven't talked to Wade. It was supposed to come in today. Okay, so there are 3 qualifying businesses.
We don't need 4.
We don't, yeah.
Are any of our members, familiar with contractors so that we?
Yeah, I don't think she knows. So.
So Ben works for one of the contracting companies.
Oh, I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
didn't tell me.
Well, he could be a low person who knows nothing about contracting. He knows, obviously.
He knows sheetrock, that's what he does.
Probably knows.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have, I think, I don't know if anyone else is in construction in the community. Besides me.
Well, Larry,
Yeah, well, of course, Larry and Rachel.
or
So
both.
our architects obviously, yeah, I mean, I don't think they've worked with those companies, but everyone knows the construction world. It has its own, it's got its own language. That's its own industry and it can be very confusing for someone to walk into
And navigating the town.
So
and navigating.
let's save the rest of the questions for later and let's move on to the volunteer
Oh, is
of the
that
year,
next? Okay,
Brad and Mary. I just, the Chinese food is waiting.
yeah, well, we gotta, Brad, you wanna help me? So we're gonna direct our attention over here. Sorry, Melissa, we're going right behind you.
Oh, all right.
Each year, we award this very esteemed and lavish prize to somebody who's really worked hard for the community. You come up here.
Oh, I was gonna take a photo.
No, we got it. It's all good over there. It's hard because everyone helps and everyone chips in. So, keep chipping in because maybe your turn's next year. So are you ready, Brad?
Okay.
This year,
You checking to see who it is?
yeah, is Cliff Sobin. Not only, well, let's put the pickleball aside. Cliff has helped us work for years on our Israel Forum to upscale it from just this to an event to actually speaking at it. He's given book lectures here. He's written books. He's given talks at our community, all without pay, all for volunteering. So Cliff, come up here. You have to get.
A little embarrassing.
Humility's good.
Watch out, watch out. And I just want to say, the irony of the first three letters of your last name is not lost on any of us. Here's from us to you.
Thank you.
And thanks, Cliff, for everything, and hope you don't, this is not the end for you, now that you've won.
These are the same pants.
He wears his yellow polo shirt, and I said, if this photo's gonna wear it, you.
And the belt.
Yeah.
You wearing the same belt?
Same belt, same.
Well, now we know it's him, it's not AI.
Where were you in that?
Yeah, where are you in this picture?
This is Woodstand on the Lebanese border, 2 months after October 7th. I parked my car on the other side of this wall and two IDF guys came running to me and said, "You're in anti-tank missile range, just get over here." I made it over here. 15 minutes later, some Katyushas came overhead. So it was a dicey time and my wife was not happy with me. She's with me.
Also, where is she?
She's right over here.
Thank you for being married to him. I don't know.
Can I just say one thing? This is not deserved. I listened to all the things that everybody's done, from Jeff to the board to so forth, and actually the paid people that basically get paid for half of their time. I'm a very minor cog. You guys are the ones that are doing all
Forget
this.
the list.
There you go.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Year. Well, Lewis Abrams won it last year, so you had a tough time too. He is, what, how old's Lewis? 11, 12?
11.
11.
Uh,
All right.
Can I go back to my
Yes,
seat now?
right.
Thank you. Pushing her back. Yeah. Got it.
That's Brad. And then Brad, if you need to go through. What's your?
Yeah.
So
I'll leave it.
financial review is on video because Rachel couldn't be here tonight. But as you know, the money's important.
She gave me some money.
Hi, this is Rachel Stam, your treasurer, here to report to you on the fiscal year activity through April 30th, 2025, and our board approved proposed 2026 budget. So you will see in the first column here that this is our budget. We had a balanced budget for this fiscal year of $326,214. And I'd like to note that none of these numbers include anything having to do with our endowment or the building fund. Those are separate from our operating income and expenses. So, you'll see here that our budget was balanced with $326,214 of donations of dues, plus $26,000 from our endowment, which would equal the $352,000 of budgeted expenses. And these are actuals through April 30th of this year. So it does not include May, does not include June, because of course June's not over. And I am not in Jackson and on a road trip, so I didn't get to the May numbers yet. But you'll see that our total for this year so far, and we have 2 more months, is $378,997 that we've raised, and $405,534 that we've spent. And so we can focus on these numbers line by line. Bates Safer is the tuition that people pay to have their kids in Bates Safer, dues, donations, fundraising events is going to be Hanukkah Guilt, and religious activities are going to be ticket sales for the Rosh Hashanah dinner, the Hanukkah party, and Passover. And then we've got old bills and restricted funds, and what that is old bills, money, security grants, and leadership fund money that is only to be spent on leadership. And you can see that this was our total. And so our proposed total revenue to be raised in 2026 is just only 5% higher. And this doesn't even include May and June. And we've shifted some of the numbers around, but the total is 5%. And I would like to note that we as a board decided not to raise dues. We promised not to do that this year, but we are hoping to get more families paying their dues. And then also to note is that this year we're hoping to do a fundraising event, and we've budgeted $18,000 of income and $10,000 of expenses for that. And then our expenses, you'll see, while our income was higher than budgeted, our expenses are also higher than budgeted a little. We've just done a lot of programming this year. Our administrative expenses have gone up slightly, and we're budgeting them to increase a little bit more. And that just has to do with how much programming we're doing, and that also includes our rent and those sorts of things, which of course, once we get in our new building, we won't be paying rent. We will have the carrying costs of the building, but those should be similar to what we were spending before. Our security amounts, we're budgeting about the same as last year, and Bates Safer about the same as last year. Fundraising expenses, like I said, about $10,000 to have an event. Membership expenses, maybe bring that down just a little. Old bills, we're budgeting to spend what we get from old bills, because we're actually required to do that. And religious expenses, an increase, because again, we're doing more. We're doing Shabbat every week, we're doing Torah study every Saturday, and we're doing morning prayers every day. So please join us on those important programming events. Groups is going to be our sort of young adult groups, and let's see. So leadership is going to increase slightly, and that helps pay for Josh's education, and then Tzedakah. So we do offer scholarships to the community, and we are budgeting to spend or to pull from the endowment next year to balance our budget. If you have any questions, feel free to email Mary or let her know. I'll be back in another week and a half. and can address those then. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Rachel.
Do can we go back to that lot, to the budget and just pause it?
Just pause it?
Live questions so they can see the actual document.
I have a question. Have you guys started planning the fundraising event yet? You know what that's gonna be?
Oh, no, we haven't.
Okay.
When might it be?
Just kidding.
It'll probably be next January.
Or February.
It's usually it's usually in January, because that's when there's nothing else going on.
It's gonna be another matzo ball.
Something like that. We don't know. Stay tuned.
Did
Might be
I
something
hear,
wacky.
did I hear it would cost $10,000 that?
So you guys, questions, we have formal questions. Is
Okay.
it now time questions for a budget, or, because,
We just wanted people to have feel.
okay, and we're gonna print this. Brad took, so let me just give you a little back. Rachel's on a road trip and she had everything stolen from her. Didn't she have all? Yeah, so she's a little rattled. She's a little rattled. She had all her like $15,000 worth of mountain bikes stolen. And stuff. So, she's in Portland, everything in Portland. Got stolen out of her car, so she's a little rattled. Discombobulated. And she did not send me the print PDF of this. Normally, she wouldn't have it printed out, but she hasn't responded. So Brad might have gotten one off his cell phone. Did you get one? The
Yes.
screenshot?
Okay.
Brad's just printed
I
one
got
off.
some more.
All right, so there you
Yes.
go. But when do but if there's,
Just give them.
Stefan,
This one's for Jeff.
Stefan, what is your question?
Well, I just heard that it was a $10,000 expense to raise 8,000 or.
For what? For what?
For the
For the fundraiser,
18,000.
it was 18 to raise 10 or what was it?
Like to a net, it would only net $8,000.
Yeah, that's what I gathered, it would only raise net 8, so. What I would encourage the board.
I'm not sure what that's about, but yeah.
And the organization is. There's a lot of amazing fundraisers in this community, and I think. Our community could do a lot more.
Yeah.
A better event to walk away with more than.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. I think we're already within our years, like
Okay.
planning. And so we're kind of already running out of time in event planners world. And I do think we're talking about sponsorships too, so it might be $18,000 in profits in fundraising. This is the worst case scenario, right? So if we get sponsorships and underwriters for tables, then we have zero expenses.
And may I ask another question regarding budget/building? Okay, is there a plan, for example, I would assume the building will have rooms. Is there a plan, for example, to have people sponsor rooms
Yes, naming,
and,
yes,
and naming and so other things of that nature?
yes.
Like Tree of Life and other
We have
things?
2 already named.
Okay,
Yep.
super. When will that go out to the entire membership for everybody to understand that that's an opportunity for them? That would, in the end, soften the cost of the construction.
It has gone out.
It did.
It did go out and it's on a,
Read the emails.
yeah, why don't you read the emails? It's gone out in all the publication. If you go on, there's some websites about the building. If you look on there, it says naming and just talk to me. I mean, do we want to talk about it now?
I wouldn't get
It's
into the
like,
details.
yeah, it's
No-
like $1.5
no
million
difference.
to name the building
That's
or,
what
you
it
know,
is.
it's,
We don't have to know the details.
there is some naming
You know,
up.
Stefan, I think it's a good point that you bring up, and I think as we get further into the building process, there'll be additional building opportunities.
Like
for
bricks and,
fundraising,
you
like,
know,
You know, some things we didn't know might be in there have come in, like additional outdoor courtyard spaces. So those are additional naming opportunities, because there's additional costs that are coming.
yeah, we'll know more. We'll
Yeah.
know more once we get going.
Just one thing that philosophically, do the budget, think about donor fatigue. Cause you just raised $5 million, so who knows who you can go back to for the next increment.
Yes, we did.
So when you have your donation number in your budget, be thoughtful where that's coming from, because some people may say that's enough for that.
Exactly.
Is this just a process question? Are we going to review where we are on the building cost estimates? Is that not?
Excuse me.
No, we're gonna get there through that pre-con phase.
Okay.
So in the next, we will have a very good idea of what the cost of our complete wish list is in about 6 to 8 weeks, I would say. And from there, that's when we're gonna have to make we're either gonna have to make decisions about, A, we can't have X, Y, and Z and cut, or we're gonna see, hey, we've got some room to do nicer finishes or add another element to it. Now construction costs in Jackson are outrageous, so I don't expect the savings to be seen. One can hope. But yeah, that's the whole point of that pre-construction phase, is to get an idea of like, truly, what is it gonna take to get the building to where we want it to be?
In your mind's eye, do you have a general number for us?
I mean, not really, I mean, when we did the fundraising, basically what we did is I brought my partner into the space and I said, we walked it and I said, this is roughly what we would need to do to get this space functional for our needs. And I said, give me a rough number so we have something to fundraise off of. And the rough number was, that's where that like $1 million.
Okay.
Now, some of this has already been eroded through the town saying, now you've got to go refinish the sidewalk. So there's tens of thousands of dollars,
Right.
That's not getting us what we want, but it got us the permit that we needed. It got us the conditional use permit, so we fought, we tried to fight it, we did what we could. I still think they're wrong and I think they would lose in court, but I'm,
Move on.
So to bring these two together, is the budget for the renovation finite? What sort of parameters do you have to look at the operational budget to subsidize renovation costs if they go over budget?
Yeah, they're completely segregated.
Okay.
Yeah, completely. It's not even on here.
No, I know it's not on,
That one?
like, if it goes over budget, what are you gonna do?
If it goes over budget, the conversation is one, value engineering, the silly term for reducing costs.
Mhm.
The other one that would be is like, we raised.
We're still fundraising too.
We have
we're
a
still coming.
$500,000, we raised a $500,000 endowment for the building.
Okay.
We don't want to touch that, but there's $500,000 that will be going into service maintenance on this building once it's up and running. And that is technically a pool, but we raise this way and we're trying to stick to what we told everyone is this, we're raising with this endowment. We don't want to touch that endowment, but there is a $500,000 pool that is there.
Yeah, and I'll just add, there's expenses that, a lot of it is security related expenses that we may or may not get grants to help cover. But we need to kind of put courtyards around that are essentially adding additional layer.
Yeah.
In our case, on the outside of the building, because we don't have room to put it on the inside. So hopefully we'll get a little outside assistance, no pun intended, with those.
Susan, I think you were next. Oh, okay.
The kitchen. So the kitchen, one of the items that's included in this cost.
Yeah, it's designed, it's not huge, but it's a functional kitchen for us with prep area and island and your basics of, enough ovens to do a polish a bot and stuff like that. We're not going to have
The commercial.
70 people and do a commercial meal. It's something about. If we continue to do stuff like this, we'll continue to probably do a little bit of potluck and then we make the main dish and stuff like that. So it's gonna be functional, but it's not like, it's not a full commercial
Yeah, I
kitchen.
was thinking that there are certain aspects that lend themselves to fundraising. If you find that the cost is gonna be over what you thought it was going to be, that you can do fundraising off of.
Sure. To fund a gap,
Or
yeah.
the security thing, for instance,
Yeah. There's a
most
lot
everybody-
of interest in security. That's probably the most feedback we have received from the community is on security elements. So we are taking it very seriously and trying to do everything that's in the proposal within it, hopefully that we have the money for it. If we don't, we're gonna get into the question of prioritizing that, and if we have to reach back out to that consultant, and he already did it, they did put, this is critical. This is,
tiered.
this is medium critical, and this is like, you can give or take, it's okay if you don't do it, but they have that, but if we come out and we have a budgetary problem, we're gonna reach back out and say, help us think through this, you know, they have everything to like a panic button in every room. And do I personally, I think that's excessive, but I don't know what everyone else in the community thinks, so right now it's just throw it all in there, put it in there, let's see where it all plays out.
Yeah, and we're gonna own this building for a long time, and we're gonna be able to add things as needed. At this point, I want to move on and do the board members, and then we'll have some more questions. So. Board would like to add 2 new board members, and we're basically gonna do a public voice vote on this.
Speak up, Mike, a little bit.
One of the board members we would like to add is Amira Burns, who has been a steadfast member, an incredible Torah reader.
Oh, yeah.
High holidays. And we are absolutely thrilled that she would agree to do this. So I would like to have a voice vote on this. All of us who approve Amira joining the board, please raise your hand and say aye.
Speak.
Any nays, guys, she's not done, we have to say, any nays?
Are there any nays? Perfect. The other person we would like to add to the board could not be here because he's on the East Coast, is Rick
With
Gordon.
his parents' 70th anniversary.
Right, his parents' 70th anniversary. And, yeah, they were married in their very early 20s and very early 90s.
That's.
Hi. And Rick is a former high school principal. He moved here a few years ago from Vermont. He had lived here in Driggs, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. I've known him like close to 40 years, and I think he'll be a real asset to the board. And again, you know, we're gonna just vote aye. All those who are in favor? Any opposed? Great, we have our new board and. People be able to do that and help us out.
I think technically you're supposed to have a motion and then.
Yeah.
And then, but,
Sorry.
sorry.
I'm trying to get to the Chinese food.
I get it. Yeah.
And then they just told me to make it quick.
Mr. President, the rules were suspended for the vote.
So we also. have a couple of minutes.
Meeting already did.
Are there more questions or comments? Bob?
Yeah, just,
You'll end up.
the leadership line is for Josh.
The leadership,
In the operating.
the
budget.
leadership fund supports Josh's education. It supports Mary and Brad going to NADA, which is the National Association of Temple Administrators.
And this
Which
is a
is-
separate fundraising thing.
Right, it's a separate,
Fundraise for, yeah.
it's a separate thing. We actually had a very recent generous donation, which will allow
That's great.
both those things to continue. It's also been used for Judd to go experience
Music
and
camp.
be in other venues. To
Take a
get,
voiceless.
It also
Board
brings in
input.
leaders like Basia Schechter last year. I don't know if you read
Yeah,
that, but Basia
right.
Schechter and even part of Laura Geller.
yeah,
So.
we use it for a variety.
We were thinking it's so little, it's paying for so much.
Well, we're very good.
You can add to it.
Okay. And so, yes, so also visiting rabbis are part of that.
Okay.
The
Just part.
biggest single piece is probably Josh and his rabbinical education, which I think is well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So have we done anything about, trying to ensure we have a fund to pay for Josh when he becomes a rabbi, he wants to be a full-time rabbi?
If not.
Not yet, it's still a few years out.
Well, we, you know, we pay Josh,
It is well on our radar.
we pay Josh.
Yeah.
Sort of per event, so morning prayer, service,
Right.
So, yeah.
let's say
It's a
for,
study too. I mean, to Jeff's point, what we're trying to be. We're trying to be strategic here, right? There's only so many big things we can solve at once. We all thought that the building was the top priority. The next top priority is trying to endow these leadership positions. It undoubtedly will take another capital campaign. And when we look at what Josh's timeline is through rabbinical school, we have some time there. But we undoubtedly are having those conversations.
Good
Is there
strategy.
potentially any room to expand on the property?
There is in the yeah, there is, we have available, they call it FAR in this town. It's a floor area ratio. We have not, this property is not maxed out on its floor area ratio. So there is additional area that could be added to the building in the future. Of course, that would be another capital campaign and
Yeah.
we're just
But
being,
it's something to think about.
it is, yeah, I mean, Larry, that's Larry's, that very first thing he thinks about when he's designing these is how, if we expand this in the future, how do we lay this property out now? How do we lay the floor plan out to complement it in the future? And so he has done that and
And I also make a point, there is a basement that's not functional right now, but it could be. It could be a pretty large space. I mean, we could lock children down there.
But if that happens, your kids will be too.
that'll be a new.
That's another space that could be
I
expanded.
could see
Right now it's storage,
That's
but it,
Well, we need storage too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not quite throwing stuff out. Other questions, comments before we move on to,
The yard, there's a fence, right? Are you going down the middle of the yard? There used to be a dog run back there too.
Yep, on the left, on
That's all
the
gonna
east
be opened
side.
up and,
Well, the idea right now, as the site plan is laid out, and we can definitely share the site plan. As the site plan is laid out, there will be a fence for security. There will be a gate, there will be a walkway, and that will serve as our ADA accessible entrance to the building. So there's a good long way to make the ramp the right grade that it needs to be to qualify for ADA accessibility. And then there will also be space in there to do a garden or any other, it's enough space to like gather out there, but there's also a front courtyard. That's the area they made us take away. They made us take away 2 parking spaces and turn that into curb and gutter. And so we were thinking, okay, what can we do with this space now because it's paved and stuff. So the idea is maybe turn that into a courtyard where we can have Sukkot and put up a sukkah and do outdoor. Sometimes it's nice to just do, outdoor kiddish and stuff like that. So 2 outdoor potential areas right now.
yeah, I was thinking of this summer camp, we having the space, large space,
Yeah.
summer camp is back from
Yeah.
the east side.
Yep, and both of them should be hopefully protected enough to do that safely.
are there more questions or comments? Good,
Please email us if you have think of anything in the
Yeah.
coming week. We can put you together with Rachel. Or if you want to go through the building. We're happy to take you through. It's really cool.
Susan, I think Rachel is working on specific designs for the kitchen. So if you have suggestions. That you could direct them to her.
Okay.
Architect, Rachel.
Yeah, right, thank you. Not the accountant, Rachel,
Not the
not CPA, Rachel.
Just talk to us. We'll work on.
Yeah, I'm not so much the kitchen, I mean, it was just, I was thinking at first that we were gonna put a commercial kitchen in, and that's pretty expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But since you're not going there.
Yeah, it's also insurance and other fire codes when you put in a commercial kitchen. it
Yeah,
takes
so
up to-
we're not going there,
It's
so.
gonna be still in the potluck
Yeah.
range.
It's grandma's kitchen.
That's fine. All right.
Celebration.
Oh, no. Still.
The idea, with the limited space, the idea is to have a lot of multi-use space. We plan to use the sanctuary multi-use, Cape Safer, use gatherings, eating. The kitchen is, we tried to design its intent is to make all of these spaces have multiple uses. That kitchen should also be a gathering space, or kids can do art in there when we are doing our services, when they tend to sit out.
Well, they can use
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the idea.
I think that's a crucial point that Ben just brought up, is that because it's a small building, pretty much all the spaces in there are multifunctional. Certainly the sanctuary space, just as we're doing right now, there's our sanctuary space, but it's also our dining hall. We're not going to have a sanctuary and the assembly hall like at St. John's. That's great, but we don't have the space for that, maybe someday. And even, the office, the library is also a meeting room, even the kitchen could function as a cooking classroom. So all the spaces, except maybe the bathrooms are multifunctional.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the offices could be tutorial rooms, all of that. Yes.
Our first, school budget was about $10 a month. And so we've come a little bit.
It was an office with a coffee maker.
The office and the first, but when we first hit $100,000 budget.
Oh, our first budget was $10,000.
It was
Yes,
$60,000 when I
And
started.
we hit the $100,000 budget, oh my gosh, everybody's this money, I don't know if this could.
Yeah.
So here we
Yeah, we
are.
started out as all totally volunteer everything. We've come a long way.
And it's gonna keep,
Yeah.
I have to tell you, once we move in, I think we're gonna, but who knows?
Right, but we are not gonna lose the spirit
That's the key.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
sort of organic, homegrown aspect of this, that frankly, people who come here are amazed. And I've heard more people say, God, if my temple was like this, I'd actually go. So we're gonna do it, kid.
Yeah. Larry, there's wine, let's just do a little finish real quick. And the Chinese food has arrived. Do we have any cameras?
All right, is everybody for, okay. Jenny's that pouring.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a quick candlelight.
Yes, because the sun is setting. Right, you're allowed to light the candle really, it's not late. That's
We go past where it's our nose.
It's ground.
We play a lot of pickleball. Last week, I was gonna have girls in Boston. And I pulled a hamstring, I said, like, kickball with my grandson.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
My son that had her six pack, and there's.
We're trying to get.
Yeah, right, you gotta get I hear it. I have a friend. He's got to go out, came out in 2 days. Can I activate? I keep the shot here.
Came up with the kids. I said, oh, you want to know? Think I'm gonna be honest. But us, we're going out, taking a walk, enjoying the view. It's totally good.
Yeah.
My own time. I just want to jump.
Yeah.
You're right. Facial
Go ahead, Julie.
Real quick.
Yeah, you're going.
This is up.
Your invitation.
Yeah.
Everybody's on them.
The wigs have to be peeled down.
Oh, wow.
That's a trick handle.
I know.
No, there's.
Why we need a new building?
Get a new
You
can.
may have one if you drop that line.
But it's okay, one can is enough, I have two just in case one doesn't work.
There you go. Yeah.
I am not here.
Thank you.
I wanted to- It's been in the summer. Well. Getting older, but now.
The kids are spread out all over.
We have, kids in DC, we have one in New York, and we have grandchildren in DC, kids, grandchildren in Boston, and a daughter in New York. So, wow.
Every.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go get the picture.